welcome back to another video. I'm Stephen Reyes, head technician at Bellator CyberGuard. In this video, we will talk about the IRP, or Incident Response Plan. This is a plan within the WISP, the Written Information Security Program. If you haven't seen that video, we did a video last week about what the WISP is and how to complete that, and this is a portion of that we kind of want to expand upon on another video and what goes into the IRP. So we'll start with the requirement for the incident response plan. So this, again, if you remember from the last video in Title 16, Chapter 1, Subchapter C, Part 314.4 had all of the elements of the WISP. One of those elements discusses the incident response plan, and these are all of what should be included in your WISP around the incident response plan. So what the goals of it are, essentially how to respond, what processes to take, the definition of roles and who does what, who contacts who. So the idea of having all this laid out, right, is in the case of an incident, is to have not much decision making taking place at the time of the incident, right? As soon as we're aware of an incident, we know the steps to take. These are all laid out, and it's all just action instead of, looking around who does what, trying to decide who to contact, right? There will be clear-cut steps to take in this case, and we'll know exactly what to do. You can read the rest of these, the external and internal communications, who to contact, what information to share, what information not to share. Identify the requirements for the remediation. So a lot of the time, if you have a cybersecurity expert, you'll contact them first and they'll begin to try to remediate the situation. From there, we also want to identify what those weaknesses are, and then your cybersecurity expert should be looking to prevent this from happening again in the future. Documenting and reporting any security events and incident response activities. So anytime one of these incident responses takes place, we're documenting it and what was done, what actions were taken, and then we look back at that and look to improve, and then evaluate any necessary following a security event. So when something like this happens, we want to pay attention to where we fell short or how we could have acted faster or more appropriately, and kind of learn from the situation. This will never be perfect, right? And anytime there is an incident, you'll probably have something that comes up that you don't have a perfect immediate remediation for. So when you do have this take place, if you do, right? Hopefully not, but if you do, ideally the business owner or the organization learns from every incident, any incident. And not all of them are huge, right? An incident, I should clarify as well, can be as simple as, somebody taking, you hear about this all the time, right? Somebody taking a selfie at work and posting it to their Instagram story, right? And in the background is their office and their computer, and on the computer they have PII open, right? So maybe it's, hopefully it's noticed quickly and the Instagram post is removed, but so it's not maybe this huge thing, but there are still steps to take in that situation. We have to look at exactly what was exposed and how it happened, and then come up with, maybe more training so people understand, okay, maybe that wasn't part of the training to not take selfies at your desk, right? It's a silly example, but these things do happen, and it's a matter of recognizing that they happen, right? Responding accordingly, and then updating the plan to prevent them from happening again. So in the WISP, there should be, like I said, clear-cut directions, right? So it'll look something like this, maybe not exactly like this, right? But you'll have these steps for the PIO. If you remember from the WISP video, the PIO is the Public Information Officer, so they're the ones contacting these outside authorities and internal contacts if they have them, as well as the clients and the cybersecurity expert. They're kind of the ones dealing with making these contacts and speaking on behalf of the organization. If anyone would speak to press or anything, that would be them. So these are the steps for them to take. These again can look different if you have other qualified individuals, other responsible people within the organization that have their roles. It could be there could be additional steps for those other roles as well, but usually in a one-man show or a smaller business, they'll have the PIO, right? And we always designate the DSC and the PIO, and and they may be the same person, right? And so in most cases, you'll have this PIO role, and that person will be responsible for taking these steps, right? So some of these examples of these steps are contacting the cybersecurity expert first. So obviously, again, so they can begin to remediate the situation and get a grasp of what damage was done and how to move forward. Then immediately the IRS and local police. There's also the stakeholder liaison that will give, and the idea of contacting these was to get further steps of who to contact next, what to do next. Also the Federation of Tax Administrators, state attorney, for which you prepare returns, any insurance policy. So if you have insurance, call your cybersecurity insurance and review that insurance policy and make sure, at least determine if you have breach mitigation coverage. The FTC, if this is applicable, ID Theft Protection Agency, and lastly the clients. For sure, we do want to let any clients that were affected know immediately, be completely transparent on what the situation was, maybe even contact clients that weren't affected, and so they're rest assured, like, this happened and you weren't affected. We want you to be aware of the situation. I feel like the transparency is very important, and people appreciate that. I think most people understand, like, these things can happen, and the transparency is very important. If people feel like they're left in the dark and not told what's going on, there's a good chance you lose those clients. And then lastly, in that table there, you see, so you'll have a simple table with all this contact information. So we're not spending time Googling and figuring out what these phone numbers are. You see some of them are blank. Obviously, these are the ones that are going to change from organization to organization. I do have some filled in there that are the same for everyone nationwide. But if you would have to fill in, obviously, your local police and what county that is and, their name. Same with the FBI. At the bottom, you'll see the stakeholder liaison. There's like 4 different areas throughout the country. So depending which state you're in determines which area. And then that area has its own phone number. Each area has its own phone number. Secret Service, Attorney General, some of these, depending on, like, the Secret Service depends on what the attack was like, right? We're probably not going to call the Secret Service for that Instagram example I had, but if there's a breach that includes data theft and something where, secure data is taken in definitely like a nefarious way, you'll have to make that contact for sure. So we'll have all of this information laid out. Again, right, the point of this is this will be right on your WISP. This will be readily available, maybe posted up somewhere in the office. So any time of day, at any time during business hours, right, in the office, if there's this sort of incident, we'll know, okay, we just go take a look at this sheet, and follow the steps, right, and contact who we need to contact. And there's not, again, because time is so valuable in these situations that we don't want to be taking time to think and, ask other people, okay, what do I do? And, like, call the PIO and let them know, hey, this is what happened, what do I do, right? It's, you may have to do that, right? But anyone in the organization should be able to come and take a look at this and follow the steps that you have for your organization immediately, and like get started on responding to the incident right away rather than thinking and having questions to ask, and wasting time that way. But yeah, that being said, make sure this IRP is a part of your WISP. Check out the link in the description, the ECFR, on all those requirements, basically what was in the last slide. That is directly from the standards for safeguarding customer information ruling as part of the FTC. If you haven't seen our other video on the WISP in general and everything including the WISP, please check that out. Again, this was around the IRP. This is only a portion of the entire WISP. This is like a part of that and really attached to it in a way. At least these steps will be attached to it. But other than that, have a great day and thanks for watching.